Hello and welcome to the GPTV Bentley Report. My name's Gary Peer.
I'm Leon Guzenfitter.
You certainly are Mr. Bentley, as we like to call you in the office.
I don't mind that.
You don't mind it? Good, I'm glad. Now, you're very formal with a tie, and here I am looking, so I'm not sure whether I can say you're stuffy and I'm loose, or whether you're professional and I'm sloppy. I guess that's up to the viewers to decide, Leon.
Well, if I took it off, Gary, I don't know, two wrongs make a right, so I'll keep it on and you still look fine like that.
That way we appeal to all viewers, because if people say, well, we like a tie, at least they can only be half right, and if they say, what's the point of wearing a tie, then we're half right as well. So I guess hopefully it will just bring everybody in for a big kumbaya of love for real estate agents. Leon, we are in Bentley and we're in a great property right here in Foster Avenue.
Foster Street.
I beg your pardon. I mean, I love where we are because we've got McKinnon Road just down there, the station just over there. There's developments happening around. We've got transport, we've got restaurants, we've got the McKinnon High School. We are in the zone here.
We are in the zone.
So I took a pump there. And we've just got everything going on. Tell us about this place.
Well, first of all, I'll tell you where we are, Gary.
Yeah.
We're in the future.
Oh, good.
And by the future, I mean...
I haven't aged too much.
I genuinely believe this is the future of how we're going to live and how, I know my kids are a little bit younger than yours, but I believe, I've got a 1 and 3 year old. This is the kind of real estate I believe my children will be living in, town residences, in new developments. It is like a new estate, but in the middle of an established suburb, Gary.
It's interesting you say that. I just had a meeting now with somebody who had a meeting with Dan Andrews and talking about property and real estate and development. And, I think even though Dan Andrews is, obviously on the left and very conscious of a whole variety of issues, not necessarily all those issues favour massive development, one of the things that I think that the government recognises is that good, appropriate development in good suburbs is what people want. People want to live in the good suburbs, good parts of Melbourne, don't they?
I agree, and if you haven't checked this place out, 16 Foster Street in McKinnon, basically City Plan, which is a huge developer, and we've been lucky enough to do a lot of sales for them, and
they do a great. I mean, they've got that project in Elstwick now too.
In Park Lane.
Yeah, Park Lane. I mean, they did one next door, which sold out, never even got to the market.
Yeah, so they got together with BG Architecture here, and have done really a new estate in the middle of an established suburb. And if you haven't checked it out, I know Philip's done an excellent video on this as well. We might just get a link to something on the screen. 16 Foster Street in McKinnon. This is the future of real estate, Gary. And tell me a bit about the property itself, Leon. So we have 3 bedrooms across 3 levels, Gary. We have entry with a double car park in the basement underneath. We have a lift, Gary, its own lift.
That's
so a lift that
unusual, isn't it?
Get out of your car, you walk into your lift in the basement, and you get into either ground or first, which is where we are now, or we go to your master suite upstairs on the 2nd level. Now, I remember we sold something for Omnicom close by. They also quality builded a great product, similar sort of tri-level property. If somebody was to go on the statement of information and they would see a price range for this property, what would it show? It would show 1.1 million to 1.21 million. That's an extraordinarily attractive price range for something with a lift of this calibre in this position. So and brand new of this quality, Gary. It's great they've this is not a father and son small operation where they put a couple of tannies up. This is a properly built development by a well-known developer with a well-known architect, and again, I go back to it, is the future of how we're going to live. Well, I think it also makes it, I don't want to be alienating to some of those small developers, but I think when you've got someone that's got track record and they've got a history of having built good properties. With Hutchinson Builders building it, who are a 100-year-old established company in Australia. I think you've got, especially in these times when, there is some uncertainty around, I think if you can buy from somebody that really is a proven force and knows what they're doing, I think that has a lot of appeal. Talking about McKinnon, do you want to tell us a little bit about what's happening in the market with prices in McKinnon and surrounds? Yeah, so a little bit about stats. I know we get on with a lot of waffle, but people actually do want to know what are some of the statistics. I can tell you, Gary, that McKinnon last month for the house price, it went down. Okay. By 1%. That's okay, we'll take that. I can live with that. The last quarter, the January to March quarter, McKinnon went down 1%. Okay. But in the postcode of Bentley, Ormond, McKinnon, which is 3204, Ormond went up. Wow. 3.8%. There you go. And Bentley went up 8.7% from the quarter that finished 2018. That's the median price? That's the median house price. Okay, so it's always interesting to know that. I mean, you can't always judge everything by the median because it's often about the selection of homes that are on the market as well. That's true. But we have seen, and particularly in Ormond, and even some of the surrounding suburbs, some really competitive auctions. Some property prices have been selling. I mean, some have been definitely less than what they were, particularly about 18 months ago, but some have been as good as they ever were, and some even more
also. So one of the reasons we set up our office, other than the fact that we've had you to do it, is that we've got such a great marketplace, and we've always done well in Bentley, Ormond, McKinnon, and certainly it's a pleasure to be here.
And just some of those, just a quick understanding of the house prices. The median house price for Ormond is 1.54 million. For McKinnon's 1.54 million. Ormond 1,475,000, and Bentley 1,402,000. So these are the affluent, serious. There used to be a measure of if the property was $1 million, the median. I mean, this is well into the millions. This is a real established suburbs.
$1.5 million average area now here. And I guess, if you look back in my real estate career when homes were selling here for a few $100,000 and you were finding it difficult to sell, this is a really seriously prestigious area now, isn't it? And it's certainly a pleasure to be here. Are there any particular sales that you wanted to talk about?
Well, let's go through some of the sales we made last month.
Leon, let's talk about some of the sales. And before we do, it seems that we're having some great success across a variety of prices.
We do.
I know we're selling little apartments. We just sold one, in the 400s recently.
Yep, little unit in the 500s last week.
But it's quite exciting that we're being entrusted with some of the most valuable homes in the area. Do you want to tell us about some of those exciting sort of landmark sales?
Absolutely. So we had a terrific auction in the middle of April at 49 Wright Street.
Yes.
Which is really AA plus McKinnon.
Yeah. We set the record in Wright Street a long time ago. I think I told you
that's close. That's right. And then also the record in Rose Street a couple of years after that. That stood for a long time.
Yes, record makers, record breakers. So tell us about that one in Wright Street.
So we had a great auction there. We had 3 bidders. It was under the hammer. And sold for $1,650,000, which was the most expensive sale in McKinnon.
That's
for the whole month across all the agencies.
We love that.
That was reported anyway.
And I think we've also had something like that in Ormond happen to us.
That's right. Well, that auction at 30 Leinster Street that you called.
I did call it.
A very competitive auction as well.
That's the first time that property's been sold. In how many years was it? 90 years. I mean, how about that, viewers? I mean, how often does it happen like that? I know it's not good for business, but what a great... firstly, it's a privilege to sell a house like that.
Absolutely.
Just for the circumstances. Forget about the actual real estate itself, but just the circumstance. But that's unbelievable. 90 years. But tell us about that sale. It was a corner site.
It was a corner site. It was 628 square metres, again in the McKinnon school zone. So some opportunities, and I think the nature of the purchaser might look to put 2 homes on it at some point because it has 2 street frontages, but really not much of a house to be honest. But a terrific position on a corner.
Price disclosed?
It was disclosed. 1,447, 1,447,000.
I know I had an absolute hoot of a time calling the auctions with lots and lots of bidders for it.
We did.
Now, one property that didn't make it to auction.
That's right.
But now we've talked about great developers. I don't think there's many better developers in the marketplace than Carter Grange. I mean, they have got a superb reputation out there in the marketplace of being high quality. They do a lot of dual occupancy, but this was not a dual occupancy. This was a house that they built. And guys, if you want to buy a spectacular house that gets built for you by an incredible quality builder, look to Carter Grange. Tell us about this property on the corner of Hopkins and Thomas Street, Leon.
Yes, Gary. We discussed it briefly last GP Bentleigh Report, and it's now sold. And it was meant to go to auction in a few weeks' time, but it is their display home. And if it's a unique opportunity to go and have a look at a property that's already been sold, because they are going to continue to use it as a display home for about 4 or 5 months. So if you are around on the weekend, and a little Carter Grange plug. Between 1 and 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, if you're driving past the corner of Hopkins Street and Thomas Street in Brighton East or McKinnon on the border there, please pop through and have a look at a truly spectacular family home.
You can't buy it, but you can see it, and you can get something like that built for you if you want to. And a very interesting buyer there too. I don't know whether we're going to be getting any publicity, probably not, but an interesting buyer who's very well known and out there in the entertainment industry.
That's right.
Maybe I don't know if we can say that, but anyway, we did. Let's talk about what's coming up, Leon, because there's some good stuff coming up, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Do you want to run us through them quickly?
Absolutely.
So, Leon, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with some of these addresses because some of the names will appeal to some of the oldies that might be watching the show because I don't know if you remember or know of McLean's toothpaste. They used to say, are your McLean showing?
Are they?
Well, we are having a showing at McLean's. It happens to be McLean Avenue, number 41 McLean Avenue, Bentley. Take us through this great-looking house, Leon.
Yeah, well, it's got a really beautiful facade, 1920s typical California bungalow facade. It had a little bit of an extension and a makeover in the late 80s. The family enjoyed it, rented it out for a few years. So it's it's 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. There's quite a lot of accommodation there. Importantly, with a north-facing backyard. And I think it's exactly the perfect mix, in my opinion, for a home that you can buy. It's too good to demolish. It's not the over-capitalised finished product. You move in there, young family, do bits and pieces as the money comes. Very similar when I was a little kid. We moved out into a home that wasn't the best. Improved over time, and but the location in the middle of a good street, a north-facing yard, and very entry level for a house.
So we're going to get a home. That's probably around land value. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. We've got 1.2 to 1.32 on it, which is
that's where the value is. You know, if you're out there looking for an investment or future home or landlocking, landlocking something away, maybe look at it in the future. That's a great opportunity. Now, I'm excited because we've got an incredible property that hasn't been offered again for a long, long time. The land size is massive. There are 2 houses here being sold separately, or if somebody wants to buy the one, they can. But this is in Tucker Road, Ormond, very close to North Road. We're talking 255 and 257 Tucker Road.
That's correct.
Take us through those 2 homes.
So again, probably the best land opportunity that's going to come up in this postcode this year. It's 2 blocks, each of about 711 square metres, both with wider than normal frontages, 20 metres on both frontages.
Fantastic.
If you do decide that you need to buy them both because you have a use for them, 42.4 metre frontage to Tucker Road, and also over 33 metre frontage to Logan Avenue.
And it's been a medical practice for many years.
Yeah, so the corner home...
Can someone still use it for that?
They can, as long as it's used for a similar type of purpose. The council has told us that, just double check that, that you can continue using it on.
Or make your own inquiries, but it sounds like it's going to be pretty good for a medical surgery if you wanted to have one there.
Absolutely.
But, irrespective, I mean, you've got the land, you've got the house, you've got a home with a good floor plan that you could change or improve or live in or rent out. So that's a really exciting
You definitely add value there, and
for sure.
I don't think a bigger land offering in all of the postcode will come up this year. Again, in that McKinnon school zone. For developers out there is a demand for dwellings in the McKinnon school zone.
Now, you've got a real little Bewdley coming up in Ormond.
Very good, Gary, very good, yes.
It's a little Bewdley.
17 Bewdley Street, Ormond. Again, with a very livable, lettable and improvable home. Very unique thing it has, Gary. It has 2 street frontages.
No, that's rare. That's very rare.
It has a normal frontage to Bewdley Street, and there's also a rear, at the moment, a passenger access, but potentially can be made into a vehicle access to Leinster Street. And you'll be able to see the home that we just sold on the corner from the backyard of that house.
I like it.
And that's sort of priced in that mid 1.3s to high 1.4s range. Goes to auction Saturday week.
Fantastic.
And could also be an extremely good opportunity for a developer, perhaps subject to council approval, putting one facing Bewdley Street, which would be a beauty.
It would be a beauty.
It would be a beauty, and one to Leinster Street.
Yeah, I like the sound of that too. Another great opportunity. You've got some really juicy properties coming up. It's interesting, the volume's down, but the quality is still there. So, if you're looking for quality and not necessarily quantity, you've got a few really good opportunities in the marketplace right now. And we've got a sparkling, modern, stunning Bayside property coming up in Hampton East. Take us through this one, Leon.
We do, and I really wanted to bring this one to the buyer's attention, and I'm calling all downsizers especially. It doesn't have to be a downsizer, but if you are a downsizer and you're looking for a home to downsize into, as you know, with the land being so expensive, Gary, most properties are built up and down, 2 levels, side by side. This one, the developer cleverly built side by side, and I reckon it's 1 for 100. Every 100 double stories get put up, 1 single story gets put up.
Probably right.
And the owners of this property, which we had the pleasure of dealing with a couple of years ago, bought this brand new property and went completely crazy and took out the brand new kitchen, put in a better brand new kitchen because they're very passionate cooks.
Nice.
Improved it with hydronic heating. Really made it to live for a long time. And thankfully for us, the real estate agents are moving on 2 years later.
Beautiful.
Change of circumstance. But if you are looking for a well-located, fantastic single-level home, 20 Beanapeen Avenue, Hampton East, that's the one to have a look at. We'll get up on the screen for you.
Get your way there. Philip, here, isn't that an insult? Leon, we've got another property going over to Alexandra Street, Bentley East. There's a few beautiful Alexandra Streets. There's one right by the Bayside by the Yarra.
That might be an avenue, Gary.
There's one in, well, don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. There's one in East St Kilda. It's a pretty good street too. But perhaps the best of them all is this one in Bentley East with a great address up for
right off the Centre Road shopping strip, Gary. So you walked into the street and you got all the shops and cafes that you would like or you would need. And that's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom townhouse. Vish has been looking after that one. And very entry level, like you're talking high 7s, early 8s for a modern 3-bed, 2-bath townhouse. Going well, it should sell well at auction, not this Saturday, the following.
Look, yes, the second time on the show, as the Bentley show, you're getting the knack of it.
I think so.
Talking about the knack, they were a band. Do you know what song they sang, the knack?
Tell me, Gary.
They sang a song called My Warona.
Yeah,
My Warona.
Very good, Gary.
And here we are, 3 and 8, Warona Street, Bentley. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, Gary. 4-bedroom, 3 or 4-bedroom, depending how you do it. Double-story, brand new townhouse with a garage, another car space out the front. 9 to 990, Gary. We're talking around $9 to $1 million for a brand new property, whether it's a home, whether it's an investment with some depreciation benefits, easy to rent out, big rental demand. If you haven't checked it out and you're a buyer, $9 to $1 million in the Bentley area, 388 Warona Street, Bentley.
So, continuing the musical theme, we've moved away from My Warona and now we're going to Cecilia. Cecilia was a great song, Paul Simon, Art Garfunkel. Yeah, Simon
You're missing me, Gary, here.
Showing my age. I said this for the oldies anyway. You never heard of Paul Simon?
I heard of Paul Simon.
Okay,
yeah, I heard of Simon Garfunkel. What was their big song, their number one song?
Oh, probably The Boxer or Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Yeah, I know that one.
But they also had a great song called Cecilia.
Right.
And it's not Cecilia, but it's Celia Street, Bentley East, that wraps up the review of properties. Take us through this good-looking home in a great location.
Yeah, Vish has been handling this one, Gary, and it's what I like about this home. It's a single-level home. Yes. Not that I don't like double-storey homes, but I think if you can get a good amount of accommodation over one level, and this has 4 bedrooms and a study, Gary, 2 sparkling bathrooms.
Looks like a good block of land too, is it?
Yeah, a good-sized block of land, and with a west-facing backyard. Not that any other orientation's not good, but having a backyard in the west with a west-facing backyard.
I've got a west backyard in my house. It was very important to me to get that, but go on.
Exactly right. And a home you move straight into. The owners have done a great job renovating all the wet areas, whereas all the expense is. And again, for a freestanding home, $1,250,000 with 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plenty of off-street parking, private sale, buy it now. I think it represents excellent value.
That's the price. $1,250,000 will buy you that. So there's some certainty around the price there. We've got some great offerings. We're coming into an interesting time of year. There is some good, as I said, there's some really exciting properties out there. Do you sell this time of year? Some people might think, oh, it's going to be cold. Do I bother selling? Are people around? Are people away? What do you think about it?
Well, I think it's clear that the stock levels are low. And I think in some ways your opportunity for success is only maybe as good as the properties you're running up against.
I agree with that too.
So I know that spring is a traditionally busy time of year to sell. There's also more things going against you or competing against you as a potential, that could take the attention of the buyers away.
Right. You've got competition as a seller.
And I think if people who are motivated and have a need, they've sold a home, they need to buy something, they're not saying, well, honey, we'll go live in a studio apartment or a service apartment for 3 months while the bulk comes on. They're going to have to pick from what's available.
Absolutely.
So I think that if you're thinking about selling, the colder months doesn't mean the prices are cold.
A couple of weeks ago, we had a busy weekend of auctions. We had over 80% clearance, we had 80% clearance. We've had 94% clearance. Our clearance rates seem to be as high as ever. So for people who are fearful, sellers who are fearful of coming out into this market, our average was 3 bidders per auction when we broke it down.
In April?
So that's just unbelievable.
And Darren, our stats man, has told me that we are over 90% of the properties sold that have gone to auction this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, for all the talk about difficult market or bad market, I think if we go to a neutral place somewhere in the middle of the earth and complain to all the other real estate agents who are in a tough market about us, where we say, look, we sell 9.5 out of 10 or 9.2 out of 10 properties that go to auction with us, and usually in the 30, 35, maximum 40-day period, they'll probably tell us we haven't got a lot to complain about.
No, we haven't got a lot. We were still going to complain.
And, just
on
that, Gary,
we don't like the volume that's being down, but the clearance rates are great and some vendors are getting great results.
You mentioned on GPTV, not to double up from that, we sold a property in Caulfield North last week. That was sold brand new 4 years ago.
Yes.
It got sold again in the last couple of weeks.
Yes. How much extra?
For 15% more.
Yeah.
So they bought it. It was brand new, which you pay premium for.
Yeah.
They lived in it. They enjoyed it. It wasn't brand new anymore.
No.
They sold it 4 years later and made 15%.
Yeah.
And apparently we're in some horrible market.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Doesn't make sense.
We're not buying into the negativity, and neither are the people who are selling with us, because we're getting some great results out there in Bentley and surrounds through this man, Leon Guzenfitter, his team, and the wider Gary Peer network that all come to the table to work for all of our sellers and help our buyers as well. Good to have you back on the show, Leon.
Thanks, Gary.
We've got lots of stuff to talk about.
These months
lots
go
of homes
quickly.
To sell. They go real quick, but it's our second edition. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you are, you can just actually send us a message on
ideas@garypeer.com.au.
I think it's up there right now. Anyway, it'll be on the screen. If you're not enjoying it, well, that's fine too. You can let us know if we stink, if you think so.
At garypeer.
No, that's not an email address. No, it's leong@garypeer.com.au. No, we will look forward to bringing you all the information. Thank you for tuning in and for your support. I'm Gary Peer.
I'm Leon Guzenfitter.
See you next time.
See ya. Bye.